Hi, Abraham. So I hear what you're saying about starting over. When you're not in a place of satisfaction, you can't solve it from that place.
And may we soften that just a little bit by saying starting over sounds like such a hard thing, like going back to the beginning. But starting over energetically gives you leverage that puts you way ahead of where you've ever been. So it's like saying, I'm starting over by tapping in to the leverage that will put me way ahead of where I've ever been. Starting over vibrationally puts you light years ahead of what you've been doing with action. So get this starting over into perspective. It's not like starting over. And that's what we were meaning to say to that man who'd lost all of his money. We want him to start over and cash in his vibrational chips and discover that he's way ahead in terms of prosperity, ahead of where he'd ever been in terms of what he'd managed to amass. Just wanted to get that in there.
Okay, thank you. I'm having relationship difficulties at the moment, and so far in like the conversation today, it's been very much like, so starting over with that relationship in mind.
Yes, yeah.
And so how do you know when the relationship is no longer serving you?
Here is the way we would approach it. So what you've been attempting hasn't really soothed it. It's like that rut that we were talking about where you feel a little better and then off you go again, and you feel better and then worse and better and then worse, better and worse. But that's because you haven't really gone to the starting place. So if you go to that starting place and you know you're detached, you know you are because you've felt it. You felt the numbness, you felt the detachment, you've felt the motion of your body. You know that your source is communicating with your cells. You're feeling the ripples in your body. You've got physical symptoms that let you know that. And thoughts are occurring to you and you're feeling satisfaction. And so you're doing that, and you're doing that, and you're doing that, and you're doing that. If nothing changes over here, then let it go. But in almost every case, something changes over here once you make the change over here. Now, sometimes people have come together without really being in touch with who they are. But when you have really fallen in love, you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on. In other words, that's what that feeling of falling in love is. Unless it's just somebody help pay the rent, and that's a whole other deal.
If you're an ocean away?
We're not even only an ocean away. In other words, when you start talking about speeds of energy that are faster than the speed of light, then an ocean away, we can't even demonstrate something brief enough.
Okay. But I
just don't be an ocean away from your inner being. Inner being, you're an ocean away. No, it's just that negative thought away. That's all it is. Just that one negative thought.
But I'm such a present moment person, and relationships for me are about two whole people coming together and like lifting each other higher.
Yeah.
Becoming something more.
Two whole people, but you got to be one of them. You can only be in charge of one of them. And so if it's one whole person, then there's a much better opportunity for the other one to come into alignment. But if the whole person is noticing that the other person isn't whole, then the whole person isn't whole either. So interesting. We've both got to be whole, and you're not. Oh, so really, it doesn't require two people being whole, just one. Because when you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you are persuasive.
But then what about the experiencing of the here and now? Like if you can't experience life with the other person.
We liked those words that you offered so much. Let's talk about this. This matters a lot. Because you are really good at being in the now. And everything that we've said all day here today was our wanting you to be so keen at being in the now that you're willing to meditate until you're really in the now, in tune with the whole of you in the now. So that you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on in the now, and allowing momentum to ensue. And then in the now, allowing momentum to ensue. In the now, satisfied. In the now, satisfied. In the now, satisfied. Not choosing not to be satisfied because I can't be with someone I want to be with right now. But in the now, choosing satisfaction anyway. Choosing the relationship that matters most in the now, which will lead to every single other thing that I want. So when you tell us that you're good at that, we want to say, we say this about a lot of you, just because you're really good at focusing, which is what a lot of people would say being in the now is, really letting whatever the moment is, give it your undivided attention. And we say, oh, that's not the way we would describe being in the now. We would describe being in the now being completely involved and intertwined with my inner being in the now, doing whatever I'm doing. Alignment and then. Over time, we've said so many things about that. We've said find a good feeling place, and then for a while we said, get into the vortex, and then for a while we said, get on the high-flying disc, and now we're saying, get into the receiving mode, and in all of that, what we've been saying is, intertwine with the whole of who you are, and then be in the now with the whole of who you are. And when you be who you really are, then you don't feel lonely, because your inner being is never focused upon anything that feels like lack or like absence, you see. And then as you focus upon this one you love, even though that person is far, far away, vibrationally not. How often, we know it happens a lot with you, with all of you. It happens to Esther many times every single day. At the same moment she's calling someone, they're calling her. At the same moment she's texting someone, they're texting her. And often they're saying exactly the same thing, and then they both write, ha ha, LOL. Because there it was. They were so tuned in, tapped in, turned on. There is no distance or space between. When Jerry made his transition into non-physical for a while, Esther was so sad, and she would say, where is he, where is he, where is he? And finally we convinced her, if you will stop looking where he isn't and look where he is, you will feel so much better. And so there is a vibrational basis of this relationship, and the distance doesn't matter. You can find alignment anyway. And then the manifestations continue to come. We're not trying to talk you out of those manifestations. We want them for you. We agree with Esther. We want you to want what you want, and we want you to be so ready to be ready to be ready that there is often a full manifestation of it. But you just can't get there from there. You can't get to a satisfied place from a place of lonely any more than you can set your radio dial on 101 FM and hear what's being broadcast on 98.
Okay.
Enough?
Yeah,
More?
I got some work to do.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Give it to us.
The work that I need to do?
Yeah.
I just need to get better in touch with who I am. I don't feel like the one... I like to think that I'm the one that's whole.
I'm looking forward to getting in better touch with who I am. And when I'm there, I know it.
Yeah.
And I am miserable when I'm not there, because I've been there often and I know what it feels like. And I will not put up with not being there. I'm going to be so present in my now that I'm going to demand of myself alignment first. And if I don't make it, no big deal. Tomorrow's another day, tomorrow's another day, tomorrow's another day. But I now know more clearly than ever what I want and what to do about it. We've been telling you for a while, we don't mean it anymore though. We've been telling you for a while that we would rather see you in a state of appreciation than in a state of meditation. Because in a state of meditation, you've quieted your mind way down to satisfaction. But in a state of appreciation, there's still no resistance, but you got lots of momentum going. And appreciation is right on the brink of full-blown manifestations. But do not save your appreciation only for manifestations. Appreciate how you feel, appreciate the love that you feel, appreciate the memories that you hold, appreciate the way your body feels, appreciate your comfort in a moment. You get what we mean.
Yeah.
Really good conversation.
Thank
Enough?
you. Yes.
Oh, they're all standing on their chair. If you feel that you have something that you really want to talk about that we have not addressed at all, let us see your hand. If you feel that there's something that you really want to talk about that we have not addressed at all, that you feel that you are in vibrational proximity of, and it will only take a very small amount of time to bring you into alignment with it.
You've mentioned it, but now the question I have is appreciation. You've used the word a lot, and other people have used it, but what is it really? Because I did read the definition, and it was something about to see the nature of or to increase the value of. And I use appreciation a lot to turn downstream. And I just wondered if you would expand on that.
Well, we're glad you looked it up in the very literal sense, because to increase the value of is so inherent in what we're talking about also. Now think about the contrast that you live and the asking that you're offering and the stream that's moving. And then think about
reaching for thoughts that feel better and thoughts that feel better until you truly come into a vibration of appreciation. And for sake of comparison, we would say the vibration of true love, that feeling of being in love, that feeling that you have sometimes when you see someone and you just feel like you're moving through one another, the feeling that you have when you are looking at the innocence of a child and feeling the beauty and power of that child. In other words, love and appreciation are identical vibrations. It's the vibration of alignment with who you are. It's the absence of resistance. It's the absence of doubt and fear. It's the absence of self-denial or hatred to others. It's the absence of everything that feels bad and the presence of everything that feels good. And as you focus yourself more and more downstream until you get in the vicinity of that love and appreciation, it just calls you to it in a very powerful way. Conversely, let's talk about the difference between, let's say, gratitude and appreciation. Many people use them interchangeably, but we don't feel the same vibrational essence in them at all. Because when you feel gratitude, often you are looking at a struggle that you've overcome. And feeling grateful, in other words, happy that you're still not in the struggle, but you are still messing with that vibration just a little bit in that, you see. In other words, the difference between inspiration, which is being called to who you are, and motivation, which is trying to make yourself go somewhere, that's a similar difference, you see. And so appreciation is that tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Appreciation is vibrational alignment with who I have become. The state of appreciation is me being in sync with the whole of that which I am. Being in a state of appreciation is seeing whatever I'm looking at through the eyes of Source. And when you are in that state of appreciation, you could walk down a crowded street with all kinds of things that a lot of other people find reason to criticize or even worry about, and you would not have access to them because your vibration of appreciation is picking out for you things of a different vibrational nature. A state of appreciation is a state of godliness. A state of appreciation is being who you really are. A state of appreciation is who you were the day you were born and who you will be the moment you die. And it would be, if we were standing in your physical shoes, your quest in every moment. But the tricky thing is, Joseph Campbell used the word bliss, and we think it's equal. Follow your bliss. Sometimes you can't get a whiff of bliss from where you are. So we say, if you're in despair, follow your revenge. It's downstream. If you're in revenge, follow your hatred. It's downstream. If you're in hatred, follow your anger. It's downstream. If you're in anger, follow your frustration. It's downstream. If you're in frustration, follow your hope. It's downstream. If you're in hope, now you're in the vicinity of appreciation. Once you get into the vibration of hope, now begin making lists of things that you feel good about and fill your notebooks full of them. Make lists of positive aspects. Make lists of things you love. Go to the restaurant and look for your favorite things and never complain about anything. Look for the thing that you like the best, even if there was only one thing in all of it that you like. Give it your undivided attention and use it as your excuse to be who you are. Use it as your excuse to be who you are. And as you use those things that shine bright and make you feel good as your excuse to give your attention and as your excuse to be who you are, you'll tune to who you are, and the whole world will begin to transform before your eyes. It's not your job to transform it for others, but it is your job to transform it for you. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. It is lovely to come together with those like you who are coming to know who you are. We are appreciating that which you are. And as we see you through our eyes of Source, we have to say to you, you have nothing to complain about, but there's nothing wrong with your complaining. Because in your complaining, you just launch more rockets and you just make more vibrational escrow. You just make the world a better and better place by living it. So you can't get it wrong and you never get it done. And from our vantage point, we feel only love and appreciation for your willingness to come and participate and to take thought beyond that which it has been before. Not just in this forum, but in life itself. You know, you can't get it wrong, and when you have your croaking experience, you will then realize fully the value that you have offered to all that is, and you will revel in it and you will feel good about it. It is our desire that you start feeling some of that now. It is our desire that you start giving yourselves a break. Lighten up. Be easier on yourself and others. Look for things to love and appreciate, and find the true you that came forth to live this life experience. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain blissfully, joyfully, appreciatively incomplete.